Holy customization, Batman! Today we're diving into one of the most iconic cars in TV history, the legendary 1966 Batmobile. But this isn't just any replica. This masterpiece was built with passion, precision, and underlying love for the original Batman TV series. Meet Tim Thompson, the mastermind behind the stunning recreation, a lifelong fan of the Caped Crusader. Tim poured his heart and soul into bringing this Batmobile to life. From the sleek, unmistakable fins to the crime-fighting gadgets straight out of Gotham. Every detail was carefully crafted to pay homage to the dynamic duo's legendary ride. In today's episode, we're taking a closer look at the incredible build process, the challenges of recreating such an iconic car, and what makes this Batmobile a true labor of love. Buckle up, because this is one ride you won't want to miss. Folks, before we jump into the full interview with Tim, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more exclusive automotive content, and drop a comment below. And what's your favorite Batmobile of all time? Now let's fire up the Batmobile and take a trip down memory lane.
First, can you please tell me your name and how you came across this car?
Okay. My name's Tim Thompson.
Okay.
You want me facing the camera?
It doesn't matter.
All right. Well, I've always, since I was a kid, I wanted a Batmobile. And I wanted this Batmobile from the TV show. And for years, I kept looking for some. And probably 20 years, I would find one for sale somewhere, go look. And it wasn't quite what I wanted because it was either a started and failed project or something. But I also knew I didn't have time to do 100% of the work myself. So I found a company up in New York that made the bodies, and they would mount the body on the frame. So we basically started with them, and they built the frame and the body and got everything mounted. Then we kind of took it from there, brought it back to our shop, and started working on it, did all the drive line and everything, engine, transmission, all that. Then we shipped it off to a company in Illinois that does fiberglass work, and he took care of getting all the body work done. It was supposed to come back to my shop. I had my own paint booth and did my own work, but he called me up. He said, I've got it all ready. I painted it black once. We've gone over the whole car, found any pinholes, any mistakes, fixed everything. He said, I can either bring it back or I can go ahead and paint it next week. And I'm like, just paint it? I don't have the time. So, then once we got it back from him, then we had to do the full assembly of all the other stuff, interior, all the gadgets, there's a lot of stuff, that had to be put on the car. The biggest fun, I think, of this project was there's so many items that we had to create ourselves. You can't buy them anywhere, And all we could do was look at old photos and figure out how to make things, and some things I worked on, for 6 months. I'd make one and it wasn't quite right. I tried a different way but that was a lot of fun because when you would accomplish one of those items that you couldn't purchase, you felt a sense of accomplishment that you were getting it closer and closer to what it should be.
Fun of trying to accomplish that, right? Yeah,
it was. Well, it was kind of like the steering wheel. All we had was a few photos that were fuzzy, and how big, how this and that. And it took a few tries, and it took, like taking a Harley headlight bezel and a piece of metal tubing and just a lot of miscellaneous stuff, a stainless steel bowl that we found on Amazon, and believe me, for every part that we figured out made it work, we had 10 of other parts that we bought along the way, and tried that didn't work. So
that's cool.
But that was the enjoyment on this car because, you can't just call Summit and say, hey, send me this or send me that,
It's like one-off pieces that you had to do because you're striving for what you wanted.
Oh, and try our best to get it to look as close, to the original, And, other things we just finished for this show, the mobile crime computer in the trunk, that's where the gas tank is.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm like, okay, this gas tank doesn't look the best with the hood open. So why don't we replicate something from the show to cover it,
Yeah.
and make it look like that?
Yeah.
And so, instantly you incorporate another piece from the show that might have only been in a few episodes into bringing the car to a next level.
But there's some people who remember those little details.
Oh, yeah.
too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It is crazy that they'll remember that. And I think back, because now, the whole series is available, to download, and you can watch it on 70-inch screen and see all this. But, when I was a kid, we had a 19-inch black and white TV and, grainy little screens and, and stuff. And a lot of the photos, that we've gone by were just old photos that somebody clipped off an old VHS tape or something like that. So.
I know there's a lot of unique features on this car because you can make and one-off a lot of parts. But what is your favorite aspect of this car that you've made?
I would have to say it's the steering wheel because it's just it's a key item, and I see so many people, will zoom in their cameras to get a picture of that area. And when you're driving it, having that steering wheel was a one-off wheel that was just designed for that car, and there's something about it, to me that was probably the number one thing that I felt like I put a lot of time and energy into to replicate, and it's part of the driving experience, too, unlike other parts that are just there, to look like, the things, but it's something functional that you use. So, yeah.
What awards and recognition has this particular car won?
We've won awards at just pretty much everywhere we've gone. Actually, I don't know, every show we've had it at, we've ended up taking first place in our division or in our class or something and things. But I think the thing with me about this car, because we've owned many other cars that we've shown on the national circuit, and this car has been a fun car. Yes, we enjoy getting some recognition, but I think what I enjoy most out of this is not as much that trophy or something. It's the enjoyment I see in other people that are like, there's a Batmobile. I've always wanted to see one, you know? And we've even seen little kids, 4 and 5 years old, that don't remember this car from TV, but come running up and say, look, it's a Batman car, because they see the logo on there, and so many people my age or a little younger that are like, I remember this. I watch the show every week. I think that award to us is the most important, the human reaction.
Yeah, and then the public's interaction with yourself and the car itself.
Yeah, yes, it really has been. It's this car to me, just brings back so many things in other people's memories, and that's the enjoyment of it.
That's awesome.
So,
again, I know that there's a lot of one-off carts, but what was the most challenging aspect of this particular build?
I would say some of the most challenging. Boy, that's a tough one. Some things, we could look and see. I would say some of the most challenging was, in the driveline and the undercarriage of how to, areas that the bulk of the people will never see, but how to really bring it to the level that the rest of the car is, because, you're starting from scratch, and like I said, a lot of that was just challenging in the fact that it's a one-piece body. Unlike other cars where you can pull fenders and everything off, we had to work around all that as we did all that, and so there was a lot of pre-planning, a lot of thought we had to go into, in doing that, and some things we found as we did it didn't work quite right, and it was major accomplishment to undo it, to redo it. So I would just tend to say more the driveline and undercarriage because, you know, like I said, we at least started with a body kit to work with, so we already had a shape there.
Yeah.
The rest of it we just had to kind of create.
Yeah.
So.
What future plans do you have for this car?
Actually, at this point, I think we're getting it pretty close to, as far as presentation, about finished. We've got a little bit of work that we still want to get done on it. But yeah, we're just planning to take it on the national show circuit for the next 2-3 years.
Okay.
Really show it hard, try to get it all around the nation.
Yeah.
And do a lot of local events. Are already getting approached by several Comic-Cons that want to have it there on display.
Yeah.
And so we're working on some new type displays to use in those kind of environments where you need a big backdrop and
set the stage for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the one thing we found, you know, we even had to rework our display for this year from last year because we had so many people wanted to be in the car, and I kind of didn't like having to make the display so, you know, maybe obstructive, you know, to where it wasn't easy just to walk in, but we just really struggled with people, you know. I mean, you know, we'd go to get something to drink and come back and there was a line of people and people sitting in the car and their buddies taking their pictures, you know, and you know, but, you know, and that's something we have to address as we do the Comic-Con events is we're going to need an environment where we can give enjoyment of the car to people, but also protect the car, you know, and so.
And then, so going back, you said you always wanted a Batmobile.
Yeah.
What started that when you were a kid? Or
well, you know, I would have been 4 years old. You know, when the Batman show came out, and turning 5 within a couple of months. And I think the car, there was no car like this on the road, you know. I mean, you couldn't go see one of these anywhere. And all the gadgets and the things it could do, it was just as much a part of the show as Batman and Robin were. Every episode, the Batmobile was used in some special feature. It was added or taken away to accomplish what they wanted in the show. And it was just one of those cars that I'm like, boy, to own a Batmobile and someday have one, you know, is really unique, you know.
Ultimate goal, right?
Oh, yeah. And actually, you know, because of a similar thing, I'm working on a car from the Munsters show.
Oh, nice.
A Munsters coach that I've been building, and we're going to move back onto it pretty hard this year and be 2 or 3 years down the road getting it completed. But this will probably always be my favorite because it just had so much character. Not just in the look, but in all the gadgets and things like that. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, good to do it for you.